Hey guys, how's it going? Boopy doopy, Drackle. Ah, scatter. Okay, got a few things on the go today. So we'll start with the deep dive, which is pretty quick, just 30 minutes. And then we'll check out the stupid questions that the community likes to ask, see how it was answered. And then we'll do some mount farming. And we can also sneak in that one that you wanted to do, Drackle. And yeah, I might not get through all my mount farms tonight. It really depends on timing. But we'll do some. Yeah. Drops are bugged, but it should be fixed now. Okay. Okay, so it's not bugged then? More like drops were bugged, but not so much anymore. Yeah, another reason I like to just not always be there right as things go live, you know? They always fuck up the drops right at the beginning, right? Like yeah. Yeah, by the time I show up, everything's fixed. Hey Tristan, congrats on whatever mount you got. Okay, let's do this.
What's up, everybody?
Oh, you're loud. Okay.
Here at the end
Or are my speakers
of the
loud?
War Within,
Is it
the
speakers
first
or
dramatic
you?
chapter
Oh, it's
of
me.
the World Soul Saga.
You're not so
We've
loud,
seen
buddy.
the adventure take us into the depths of the world, and even to worlds cast out in the great dark beyond. We've seen our villain
Man, he looks good with the shaved head.
running around and amassing untold power. We've seen her siphon the energies.
He looks like a whole new person with the
and
shaved
even
head,
those
right?
of
Like
the black blood beneath Ashgahed.
if I wasn't the WoW fan I
And
was.
recently,
Or am.
Zalatath
Was.
assumed the power of the last Void Lord, Dimensius. So the question remains, what will she do with all that power? And what are her intentions relative to our precious World Soul? So now, as midnight descends, and the second, darker chapter of our trilogy begins, Zalatath has returned to Azeroth, leading an army known as the Devouring Host, intent on snuffing out the light of the Sunwell and plunging the world into darkness. You, the heroes of Azeroth,
There are always a
will be
lot
set
at the beginning.
on a collision
Yeah,
course with
the
Zalatath
patch notes.
to save not only Azeroth itself, but everything that is.
Yeah, 126 pages isn't really a big deal. Not for an expansion. Yeah.
Hi everyone. As
Hi.
we kick off our Midnight Alpha,
Hi,
we'd like
Ian.
to give you all a deep dive into what's in store. We want to recap everything we've shared so far, along with some brand new details. Today we're going to talk about the story of Midnight, as well as the zones, dungeons, delves, and raids that await if you want to save our world from Zalatath. We're also going to talk about some big new features coming in Midnight, like Prey and the Devourer Demon Hunter specialization. And of course, let's not forget housing. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Let's forget it.
And as always, thank you for being a part of this amazing community, for choosing to spend
I'm
your
okay
time
with
in
forgetting
Azeroth
it, Ian.
and with each other. Now, without further ado, let's see what's in store for our home away from home. After all, it's nearly midnight.
Nearly midnight? It's only
The void
6:20.
storm rages in the sky.
And it would have been
A
morning when
surging
this went
vortex
live.
of shadow
Not
and
even
chaos.
close to midnight.
Zalatath has returned. Wielding the dark heart, she carves a path of destruction through once tranquil lands. Her all-consuming goal:
She needs a
devour the
statue,
heavens,
just saying it.
blot out all light, and bring about her midnight. It is in the shadow of this swirling storm
I'd buy it
that the
in a
defenders of
fucking
Azeroth
snap.
must rally once more. For peace, for the light, for the good. This is not a battle. It is a reckoning. At the Sunwell, that eternal bastion of light and hope, Lady Liadrin and Lorthemar Theron lead the Blood Elves as they prepare to make their final stand. Because
I'll
across
answer you in a
all
sec, Tristan.
worlds and all
You
stories,
didn't ask a question,
one
but
thing
I'll reply in
never
a sec.
changes. Home is worth fighting for. Welcome to World of Warcraft.
Midnight. Okay. Blazing Drake and Awake the Drake achievement. Oh, you didn't have those yet? I would think you being, you know, the mount farmer. Maybe you just recently started focusing mounts, though. I don't know. Gretz, though.
Your story begins on the Isle of Quel'Danas. In the immediate aftermath of Xal'atath's invasion, the Sunwell surges with light, calling out to all heroes of Azeroth for aid, while the vile creatures of the Void wage a relentless assault.
I'm surprised they haven't done a gnome statue, because they could just throw that into a fucking collector's edition. They're just tiny, right? Like, those are the ones that you throw into, like, packs, because they're not really worth as much as a big statue, you know? Like, fuck, yeah, good idea. Like, those are the cheap statues, right? That's what you could throw into, you know, some fucking collector's edition, yeah.
The hopes of extinguishing it once and for all. Flying monstrosities attack from darkened skies, and malign foes manifest without warning to wreak havoc across the plateau. Stand true with the champions of Azeroth as they mount a desperate defense against this invasion. For if the Sunwell falls, so too does the world.
Of Warcraft.
The defense of the Sunwell leads you directly into Silvermoon City.
Man, I miss
But
Sunwell.
not the one you know. The renewed light of the Sunwell symbolizes Silvermoon's revitalization, shining over a city
Says
fully
the Alliance
restored
player.
to a thrumming, living capital. Familiar landmarks gleam with fresh polish, while new areas like the Sanctum of Light and the Garden of Remembrance offer countless nooks and stories to explore.
But to be
Inside the
fair,
city-
I'll pause, you know, since he is doing a little speech. But to be fair, I love my Blood Elf Warlock as much as I love my Night Elf Druid. So yeah. I always really liked, the Sunwell and stuff. Yeah.
Walls, the threat of Xal'atath's
Silver
war
Moon,
draws
all
the
that
Alliance
shit.
and Horde into wary cooperation.
I like that
With
leveling
shared
area.
spaces
Beginning
hosting common
leveling area.
services like trainers, the auction house, vendors, and more. Around a third of the city remains off-limits to those under the Lion's banner, so the Alliance allegiant should tread lightly or risk being attacked on sight.
I've been in there on my
Outside
Alliance.
the city walls,
It's not so bad,
however,
buddy.
is where your role in the fight against the Void really begins to take shape. The strength of the Sunwell infuses Eversong Woods with restorative energy, healing much of the damage of wars past and filling the zone with new growth and new life.
New pets,
All
they're
of what
showing
you
up
remember
right
of
now.
This lush, thriving forest is here. But Eversong is
Oh.
also a
Speaking of, drops are live, guys. So if you're watching on YouTube, come watch on Twitch if you want a pet. Just thought I'd add that. We'll be on long enough that you can get it all tonight if you want. This will be going on for a while, and then we'll do some mount farming after.
reimagined landscape of increased scale and greater beauty. Most noticeably, the Ghostlands and Eversong Woods are now joined into one large zone, which is itself joined to the Eastern Kingdoms.
And the pet is showing on screen.
Eversong's flourishing fluorescence is not without complication. Though the Sunwell's light is a boon to the environment, its surging power causes pockets of light bloom, small groves of light-enriched growth, to experience surges of their own. The light bloom's rampant propagation, if left unchecked, threatens to smother all life under an overgrown tangle. Your adventures through Eversong will have you investigating the light bloom, dealing with the aftermath of a Hawkstrider chick gone wild, helping a suspicious apothecary with questionable motives, untangling the secrets of two feuding nobles, and even getting caught up in a sinister murder plot, alongside Magister Umbric as he works to crack the secrets of the Void. It is up to you how your story progresses beyond Eversong Woods, with 3 available paths you can tackle in any order. Brave the ancient troll kingdom of Zulaman, investigate the gnarled hidden roots of Harandar, or accompany Arator on his journey to better understand the light, the void, and himself. Zulaman finds the Amani troll empire at one of its lowest points. The homeland of warlord Zuljin, Zulaman was once a place where Loa bestowed to the Amani their godly strength, and were devoutly revered in kind. The temples still stand, weathered but proud. The eagle, the lynx, the dragonhawk, and the bear. Ascend wind-swept sky-scraping peaks, explore ruins shrouded in fog, traverse stormy wilds teeming with vicious beasts, and accompany Zuljara, granddaughter of Zuljin, and the pragmatic pillar of strength now leading the Amani, as she seeks a means to save her people from void-aligned cultists and the monsters they revere. The Amani are invaluable allies in the defense against Xalatath's invading force. If you help them fight for their home, they will help you fight for yours. At the confluence of the world tree's roots lies an impossible primordial jungle known as Harandar. It is here that Azeroth's entire history wraps, twists, and braids, a literal entanglement of all that has been and all that will be. Harandar is a land of magical, powerful growth. Fungal towers, glowing moss bridges, and entire villages sprout from Harandar's wild, organic fabrics. The pulsing heart of this knotted tangle is the Cradle, once the domain of a nascent goddess, long vanished, and now the home of the Haranir, who have for generations lived secretly under its soothing light. The reclusive Haranir are a proud and insular people. They have long avoided interfering in matters of the world above, but Xalatath's destructive ambition does not stop at the surface, and the Haranir can no longer afford the
needs
luxury
us, right?
of
That guy was
neutrality.
fishing with a stick.
There is another way you can help with the defense of Azeroth against Xalatath's cruel machinations. Accompany Erator, son of Turalian and Aleria Windrunner, on a continent-spanning journey in the hopes of bolstering the Sunwell and strengthening the vanguard of the light. This story-driven
Hey, Alonso,
adventure
how's
finds
it going?
you traveling with Erator as he searches for sacred relics and attempts to peel back the mysteries of the Void, all while grappling with his own relationships to his family and the light. Erator's mission brings new experiences to familiar locations. Defend Light's Hope Chapel from an attack by Scourge forces. Fight through the darkened corridors of Scarlet Monastery to put to rest those who would pervert the light for their own nefarious gain, and work with Sunwalker Desco in Hammerfall to help Erator in discovering the paladin he aspires to become. Erator's story reaches its climax in the shadow of Blackrock Mountain, where alongside the Sons of Lothar, he must face the weight of his father's legacy and decide once and for all whether he is willing to rise to meet it. The raging center of an unraveling shadowy maelstrom, and the epicenter of Xalatath's power, Voidstorm overflows with violence, chaos, and hostility. Stormfields twist and fold its space. Gravity becomes untethered and tethers again. Insatiable void creatures known as Dominar stalk the storm, each one as unique and ancient as it is hateful and hungry. They carry on their eternal hunt for power under the black gaze of 3 enormous nexus points, hubs of the malicious dark energy Xalatath draws upon to fuel her void spar and conduct her unyielding assault against the Sunwell. Join Azeroth's champions and the Void Elves in their quest to understand what powers this storm and stave off its approach. Though much of the world of Midnight lies in the ominous shade of the encroaching void, there is at least one refuge for the weary. the Argentina. What began as a hidden sanctuary is now a not-so-secret tavern haven for Horde and Alliance alike. A big, cozy space filled by music, chatter, and life.
Oh, I wonder if
the
you can
void
put
is
a
the
bar
bleak
in your
and the
house.
cold, the Argentina is its opposite.
I'll totally
A
do
warm
player
spark
housing if you
in
can
the
put
heart
a
of
bar
every
in
patron.
it.
It is a place to gather with friends, find the perfect comfy sitting room, or just soak in the atmosphere of a well-traveled watering hole. As a crossway for people of all kinds, the Argentina also serves as a source of new adventures. Familiar faces stop by here and there, spinning stories and offering quests that send you far across Azeroth in search of relics of the past. Follow the course they set for you to discover a fresh perspective on familiar locations. Xalatath is determined in her destiny, an unrelenting foe with an army that never sleeps. But you can't live every moment in grim resistance.
God.
The Argentina is always here.
Khadgar
Should
in the
you find
wheelchair
yourself in
always
need of a
reminds
little
me
respite.
that we're playing a really old fucking game.
The mysteries of the origins of the void and the knowledge and power to stop it
Average
are not
WoW
to be found
community's
only
like
on the
fucking
surface. For true deliverance,
30 plus.
as always, hides in snarled labyrinths, looming temples, deadly ruins. These delves, dungeons, and raids are the real font of power, the sacred and defiled spaces from which strength is not just earned, but taken. Across this void-darkened world hide myriad
system,
delves
how's it going?
overflowing with incalculable danger. Located on the Isle of Quel'Danas, Parhelion Plaza is an outdoor delve that drops you into the heart of the defense of the Sunwell. Fight against the surge of the Void's attack by restoring Parhelion's defenses, commanding an artillery of light, ducking into pocket dimensions, and putting down Gladius Slana, a Dominar who uses summoned Voidwalkers as weapons against your stand. Expect to plunge the depths of 9 other delves and 1 seasonal Nemesis delve when Midnight launches. You do not have to face these delves alone. Valera Sanguinar is a powerful new companion with a rogue-minded approach to problem-solving. As a DPS, her killing spree
I
ability
still
has her moving through the
prefer
shadows
Bran.
to lash out at multiple enemies. As a healer, she uses vampiric reaping to rip away the life force of enemies into orbs you can collect to heal. And as a tank, she uses your first mistake.
See, I don't
to
care
taunt
what
and do
she's
damage
capable
over
of.
time to any enemy that turns their back
I
on
prefer
her to
Bran
attack
for his
her
humor.
ally.
She
Valera
can
is
she
also
can
a
one
prolific
shot
provider
the
of
mobs all by
poisons
herself,
that,
and I
depending
wouldn't
on
care.
her role, empower you with more damage, better avoidance, increased speed, and more.
But is she funny?
Your adventures in Midnight eventually lead you down darker paths, paths that end in overgrown corridors and ruin-stricken relics, forgotten places of powers best left unstirred. Yet these dungeons...
Going good, thank you. How have you been? Missed you? I've missed you too, sister. And going pretty good. Yeah, can't complain too much.
promise plunder worthy of the peril, should you have the courage to overcome the challenges within. Windrunner Spire, the former residence of the Windrunner family, haunts the skyline of Eversong Wood's western shore. The strained relationship of its namesake sisters, Varisa, Sylvanas, and Ilaria, imbues its halls with a sullen, spiteful energy. The restless spirits bound to this animosity threaten all who draw near. Among these spirits walks the Windrunner's sole brother, Lirith, who needs your help in quelling this restlessness and clearing his once great home of hate. Serenity, however, is not so easily claimed. There are other forces that seek dominion over this domain. Emberdawn, a fire-colored dragonhawk, claims the dilapidated gardens of the Spire as a nest for her young. She is fiercely territorial, answering intruders with both talon and flame. The derelict duo comprised of the Banshee Callis and her loyal abomination Latch lead a band of fanatical undead in a hunt for relics tied to Sylvanas. They meet outside interference with a mix of shadowy magic and brute strength. Commander Krolok, a merciless orc who oversaw countless conquests
Seeming
during
kind
the
of
Second
bright
War
for
that
an
took Lilith
expansion called
Windrunner's
Midnight.
life, stalks the Spire with an insatiable bloodlust. Since being slain
Where's
in
the
vengeance
darkness,
by
people?
Alleria, Krolok knows only torment and the desire to pass it on. The restless heart, a concentrated whirlwind of grief and suffering, born from the conflict of the Windrunner sisters, envelops all who remain in turbulent turmoil. This swirling specter takes the form of a ranger, combining the power of the wind with volleys of arrows to cut down the uninvited. Windrunner Spire was, at one point, a living embodiment of family and of legacy. With the help of Lilith and your allies, you can make it so once more. 7 more dungeons await you in Midnight, each one crawling with the Cutthroat and the Craven. Magister's Terrace and Murder Row in Eversong Woods, the Den of Nalorak and Mysara Caverns in Zulaman, Blinding Vale in Harandar, and the Voidscar Arena and Nexus Point Zenith in Voidstorm. The most tyrannical antagonists
I did always
of
like the
Azeroth work
Netherstorm
their dark
dungeons.
deeds from within Midnight's 3 new raids. The Void Spire, where
That's what
6
that
bosses
reminds
hold
me of.
court over the heart of the Void, and muster against the amassing vanguard of the Light as it readies to storm the walls of Xalatath's stronghold. The Dream Rift, where you must join in the hunt for an undreamt god that never should have been, and put down half-birthed abominations that lash out against existence itself. And the march on Quell Danas, an encounter still shrouded by the fog of war beyond the known presence of Beloren, the void-corrupted phoenix, who stakes a ceaseless watch over the entrance to the chambers beyond. The Void threatens to end all of Azeroth, to rend the world in the squall of a black tempest. But the extraordinary power it carries does provide opportunities to those heroes willing to embrace it. Devoured demon hunters bend the Void to their will, ripping Void fragments from their enemies and using them as the power source
It would
for
be kind of cool
cataclysmic
to
spells. They are
be
mid-range damage
ranged
dealers,
on a demon
armed with
hunter. I'm just gonna
summonable
say I
Void
do,
scythe,
you know,
darting
as
in
you
and out
know,
of the
love my
fray as they
ranged.
dance on the line between control and chaos. Voidblade and Hungering Slash work in concert. Dash into melee range to deliver a series of crushing Void Scythe attacks, then use Vengeful Retreat to escape the enemy's reprisal. You can also start this combo off with a Void-charged The Hunt. Metamorphosis transforms you into a familiar state of cursed power. The more you feed it, the longer it lasts. Ride the wave of annihilation by tearing apart souls and staying alive. Reap is a sweeping scythe attack that consumes all of your soul fragments for one massive burst of damage. Use Void Ray to cut through enemies in a straight line and leave them smoldering. Collapsing Star channels the immense energy of a dying star, focusing it into one single destructive blast. The more you cast it during your Void metamorphosis, the stronger it gets. Demon hunters also find themselves with new disciples in Midnight. Void elves are sharpening their warglaives and joining the hunt. Newly awakened to the dire threat of Midnight, the Haranir join the fight for the surface as the next playable ally.
One sec, guys. I'll just respond to some stuff. Firehawk should drop the Firehawk mount. Agreed, agreed. I bet you there's gonna be a lot of reskins for this. Yeah, yeah. Based on where it's at, yeah, there'll be a lot of reskin mounts. Life has been hectic as of late. Work, gym, just trying to stay awake. I've been working like 70-hour weeks. Been there. Yeah, those are rough. Always put your streams up. Just haven't chatted in any streams as of late. Well, thanks for the lurk. I know there's a bunch of you that lurk, so yeah. Yeah. It's all support, whether, support comes in many ways, right? Lurking, chatting, commenting on videos, liking videos, financial, like there's tons of ways you can support, so. And lurking is honestly one of the best because, it's a extra view on my stuff. More views on my stuff, the more people see it. Yeah, and then come in themselves and view it. So yeah. The new flying Brewfest mount looks okay. Did they add a new one today? Wouldn't that be no way, right? That would be so hilarious if they added a new one at the end of the event, pretty much, or like halfway through. Did they make it so the one they added can fly, or are you just being funny, Drackle, trying to make me think I'm missing out on something? Huh? Is that what you're doing? Trying to make me think that I'm missing out on some mount that don't exist?
Race, Haranir are deeply entwined with the organic world. Theirs is a culture shaped not by cities or by conquest, but by the roots, the stones, the quiet pulse of the deepest breath of the world.
Hey GLX,
Their armor,
how you doing?
their weapons, their skin, all are infused with the inner light of organic power. Even the mightiest primordial predator in Harandar knows to fear.
Okay, you're
the
talking about the bomber
luminescence
mount?
of
Okay.
Haranir's markings in the dense
Yeah, we all
jungle
knew
brush.
about that one.
They are primal, ferocious hunters, a force of nature unto themselves, who possess the
And
racial
Gratz.
ability to travel along the roots of the world, from Harandar to any world tree, or from anywhere back to Harandar. Haranir are versatile warriors who can choose from a wide range of paths, including those of the warrior, hunter, rogue, priest, shaman, mage, warlock, monk, and druid.
Man, those sets are
The last
ugly.
of which has all new forms that reflect the Haranir's unique connection to those hidden parts of the earth.
And those forms were
Prey
ugly.
is a secret opt-in initiative run out of Silvermoon City by
they can't do
Astalor
good
Bloodsworn,
druids
a
lately,
blood
can
elf
they?
with what some might call a colorful past.
Between that one
Astalor
and the
is after
fucking
one thing,
culturing one,
anguish, a powerful magic siphoned from
God-awful.
Azeroth's deadliest threats. And he's offering generous compensation to heroes who are courageous or foolhardy enough to go chase it. Astalor's lair in Murder Row is your base of operations for Prey, the place where you pick your targets, track your progress, and collect your rewards, including cosmetics, mounts, titles, and housing items. The deeper you go, the harder the challenges, and the more you unlock. Prey has 3 difficulties. Normal, which serves as an introduction to the system, along with offering plenty of challenge. Hard, where the ambushes get meaner and the encounters more intense. And Nightmare, which is just about the fastest way to gain intimate knowledge of Midnight's many new and scenic graveyards. Prey can ambush you at any time, whether you're questing, exploring, or minding your own business.
Well, that's annoying.
Each time you defeat your target, you increase your advantage by tiring them out and
you're just
buying time
chilling
to find
all of a
whatever
sudden.
dark hole they're hiding in. Higher difficulties incorporate torments, personal afflictions that only impact you. Torments cause a wide range of effects, like creating
Prey
an
just
AoE
sounds like
damage
war
puddle
mode,
under
except
recently
it's not
deceased foes,
players.
or haunting you with a bloody spirit that deals lethal damage when it catches you. A torment can also manifest in the form of Astalor's impatience, forcing you to make a kill within a specific time limit before Astalor simply extracts his payment from you. Prey targets are all different, and all deadly. Magister Sunbreaker, a disgraced blood elf whose reckless magic is a threat to Silvermoon and everyone near it. High Vindicator Varim, a zealot who believes the void can only be defeated by covering the entire world in holy flame, and is ready to put that belief to the test. Executor Canius, a sadistic dominar whose primary hobby is murdering anyone foolish enough to challenge his martial prowess. Prey is a way to add excitement, unpredictability, and challenge to your journey through Midnight. But be warned, there's a reason Astalor isn't chasing these targets himself. For those who tread the worn paths and soaring skyways of Azeroth, it is more than a world, more than story, character, or conflict. Azeroth is, and always will be, home. Housing in Midnight is dedicated to that ineffable feeling of being part of something bigger, of something greater, of living a real life as a true part of a real world. Housing in WoW is built to give you boundless self-expression in the place you call yours. Collect hundreds of decorations and dive deep on customization. Place, rotate, scale, and move items to your heart's content.
You know, as a person who's been collecting since since you could, man, my screen is gonna be spammed with so much shit when this shows up. Yeah. If you've been a collector for a while, you're just gonna have it. You're just gonna have a lot of shit, and you're just gonna be spammed for like probably 5 minutes of shit you've unlocked through player housing, just, from being transmog farmer, mainly transmog. Like if you're, yes, there'll be some stuff through mount farming, but mainly if you focus transmogs, yeah, that's the shit that's gonna unlock a lot of player housing shit. You look beautiful. Well, thank you. Once again, did nothing, just natural beauty over here. Shakes fist at the X45 Heartbreaker. Why won't you drop? Well, you can't even try for it right now. What are you talking about? It's not Lover's Week yet.
This is more.
But I get it. I spent 10 years trying to get that mount. Yeah, I have it. And I think Stream knows that. I think, yeah, because every year for 10 years, we've been streaming that. So, yeah, I think a lot of my viewers were with me that entire journey. Yeah.
Than changing a coat of paint or choosing a different picture frame. It's a sandbox for your imagination. World of Warcraft has over 2 decades of content, and the time you've spent in Azeroth over the years will yield a bounty of housing rewards. Milestones like completing your Legion Order Hall campaign or finishing completionist achievements like Back to the Beyond will award housing items post facto. You'll also earn decor.
You know what they're really doing?
Raids.
What they're really doing is they're forcing people to become us, right? Us that have been collectors, and pretty much do the tedious shit every week or day. Yeah, they are forcing the average player to become us, which I think is fucking hilarious because it is tough to be us. It is tough to be that person that goes after every single fucking thing. And it's tough to do content alongside of that. And yeah, I find it fucking hilarious that they are forcing people that like housing to be collectors. Yeah. Sucks to be you guys. Sucks to be you.
Reputation vendors, achievements, quest lines, housing endeavors, the auction house, holidays and live events, and crafting. All professions from all expansions can craft decor. Search the world for lumber, a new gathering resource, and use it to craft
about
decorations
fucking time. I've been hoping they would put,
house.
It's funny because a lot of people think lumber's new, right? We had it in WoD. And ever since then, I've wanted them to bring it back. So this is very cool. I like that lumber is back in the game. Yes.
Many housing-specific items can
Well, that
be
was a
dyed,
short clip.
giving you greater control of the finer details of decorating. Imagine your dream home. Collect and craft the decor to bring it to reality. Then tweak it until it is just right. Floor plans are flexible. You can rotate and stack rooms to create multi-floor structures. A variety of room types and shapes are available, including normal squares and rectangles, L and T hallways, as well as some more fantastical configurations. Advanced mode takes the toolset even further, allowing you to adjust each piece of decor exactly as you want. Rotate, float, scale, and more to make your home a perfect reflection of your taste. And that's just the inside. The outside of your house is also customizable. Place your home how you want it on your plot. Add fountains, statues, planters, and more. Change out your windows. Pick the perfect chimney. Add a tower, and decide on the door of your dreams. Exterior plots also have the same advanced mode as interiors for even more modification. At Midnight's official launch, you'll have a choice between exterior themes based on orcs, humans, blood elves, and night elves. These aren't just skins, they're full architectural styles with unique customization options. Orc homes feature hide rooftops, bonfires, and rugged surfaces. Human homes are rustic, with sturdy stone walls, warm wooden floors, and colorful banners. Level up your house to unlock more flexibility. New rooms and floors.
They're not big enough.
Bigger house sizes.
Need a fucking mansion,
in the
man.
number of spots for decor.
Been playing this game for 20 years. You think I
Every
could fit
house
all my
is
stuff
a
in
shared
one
zone
tiny
known
house?
as a neighborhood,
I
where
don't
you
think
and
so.
others can show off your homes, build community, and participate in rolling challenges to earn housing rewards. Neighborhoods feature a wide variety of biomes, from spooky forests and coastal plains in Founders Point to lush oases and windswept bluffs in razor-wind shores. All contain different kinds of plots. Some are secluded and quiet, while others are clustered for the socially vibrant. Your neighborhood is faction-coded in its aesthetics, but not faction-exclusive in its residency.
We get
You have the
a
choice
we
between
get
two
we get a
types of
flight right
neighborhood.
beside our house.
Private neighborhoods where guilds or groups of friends can form their own space. Public neighborhoods where you'll find a home among friends you haven't met yet. Private neighborhoods come in two varieties. Guild neighborhoods, which scale to fit your guild roster, and charter neighborhoods, which are capped at 50 homes and are perfect for tight-knit communities.
Like a stream community?
Endeavors are monthly neighborhood-wide activities that bring everyone
Like a
together
Mist
to
of
complete
Darkness
tasks,
community?
unlock themed decorations, and contribute to helping your neighborhood evolve.
Which is
Participate
perfect for a community like us and not so perfect for a big streamer. Yeah, like that is great for a small streamer, but a big streamer, they'll feel 50 in like the first minute, you know? Yeah, they're gonna feel forced to have all these different accounts or something, you know? But for us, it's fucking perfect.
in endeavors to earn house
Another reason it's good to be a small streamer.
XP and community coupons that give you access to exclusive decor. Above all, housing is designed to help you find your perfect space and transform it to your own fantasy haven. To create your own home, sweet home.
Home sweet home.
And there you have it.
I'll take those
Thank you
Murloc
so much on
slippers.
behalf of the entire World of Warcraft team for joining us for this overview of Midnight. And if after what you just saw you can't wait to get your hands on housing, don't worry, because it's
Before he finishes, I'm just gonna say, this is what needed to be done at Gamescom. Like, Gamescom, I had no excitement, but now we're in it. Now we're in it. I've seen the content, you know, there was no gameplay, but I don't need gameplay. All I need is this. I don't care how people are doing their shit, right? I just needed something that told me the features, and there was some testing, but they didn't really go over a whole lot of this, right? Yeah, there was some testing. Once again, I don't give a fuck what other people are playing, right? I don't care about watching some YouTubers test the shit. I care about the devs telling us what's going on. They're the ones making the game, not the YouTubers, right? So really we needed this. We needed, you know, there was a little bit of this, but, you know, we needed more dev stuff. Yeah. And this deep dive was really good. Yeah. I think they did a very good job. This deep dive was better than anything that happened at Gamescom. Yeah.
coming your way if you
Because the reality is testing testing, especially at the beginning, means absolute squat because they change so much stuff along the way, right? Yeah, it's like, if that's what you like to watch, then by all means, but it's not what I really focus on because they change so much shit along the way that you're getting a bad objective or an observation of it, Same reason why I barely play the PTR. Yes, PTR is the same. I will hop in once in a while to do videos, but if it's not for content, I'm the same way. I could care less about PTR. If they like contacted me specifically and were like, "Hey, can you test stuff?" I would do it. But as a like player and, someone doing content for free more or less, no, I don't really like doing too much on the PTR either for multiple reasons. One, I still try to be surprised with WoW. It's tough, but, it's tough because the minute something happens, people are talking about it, people are making videos, people are making, forum posts, it's become a talent of mine, how good I am at like not looking at certain shit, and yeah, I like to still have the surprise, because I'm a WoW fan, like severe WoW fan. I don't want to know every little fucking thing. I want to know when I go and do it, right? But I like having an idea. I think it's good to have an idea of what to expect because, take a non-WoW fan, someone who's not going to purchase anyway, right? Like an average person, based off of what was going on at Gamescom, would have never bought it. Now, something like this might get them to purchase it, right? Because they went over a lot of features in a short amount of time. You weren't sitting here waiting forever for them to, yeah, that's the bad part is like the interviews that are like 1 hour long that go over one topic, yeah. So I think they did a great job with this one.
Have midnight in early December of this year. Thank you again, and we'll see you in Azeroth.
Say what? What's early December? Hold on.
And there you have it. Thank you so much on behalf of the entire World of Warcraft team for joining us for this overview of Midnight. And if after what you just saw, you can't wait to get your hands on housing, don't worry, because it's coming your way if you have Midnight in early December of this year. Thank you again.
I thought we were getting Midnight early December. Jeez, you had me almost extra hyped there. I was like, fuck yeah. Quick alpha, quick beta, boom, in. I could do it. I still need to do the lore walking shit, man. I've been avoiding all that shit. I handed in the quest to talk to them, and that's about it. Uh-oh, someone died. Noob.
Friends, we hope you've enjoyed this.
I will say, people are gonna start actually dying doing content. Like, that just doesn't really happen that much anymore. But now we have this prey system, right? That's gonna put you in, nightmare mode. Well, I think you can choose, but, of course you would choose because it's gonna be the better rewards. And, yeah, we're gonna finally see some deaths actually happening that are not due to a delve, a raid, an M+, Yeah. Or you just being low level.
Deeper look at Midnight. But as you can see, this fight is far from over. The drums of war thunder once again. and Azeroth needs her champions. Now,
there's the drums.
more than ever.
Okay, that's pretty good. I got that queued in. It'll just start up. I will warn you about lore walking though. Bugs. Oh yeah? I know, they're bad at fixing shit. Okay, what kind of questions do you think came after that? What would I ask? I'd be like, can we have a bar in player housing? That would be my number one question. What else? What else? I think that's the only question I'd ask. Yeah, funny that my only question would be the feature I'm not even really that excited for. But all the rest, yeah. I feel like I'm happy with what they're doing, you know? Like, yeah, I don't have any questions, really. Just do your shit. Make us proud. Mine is, can I have a private controllable army with my player housing? Nice, nice. You know there's gonna be some player housing stuff. So anything I need to respond to, because we don't need to wait 8 minutes here. Let's see. Did I miss anything up here? I think we're good. They say begins in 7. Begins in 2. Still in 2. In 1. Close enough. Okay. My other question is, can I make gold off of player housing? I betcha there's a way. There's a way to make gold off of just about anything. There's a way. You know what? Yes. Yes. People will carry people through content to get housing items, right? Because some of those housing items probably will be, say, the soloing of the Delve boss at the end of the seasons, right? Or in the seasons. Or KSM, you know? Like, those are going to be some of the, yeah. I think, all in all, what I think they're doing with player housing is they are creating their own all the things. Yeah. So for those that use the all the things add-on, you know, I'm one of those. You see the add-on on screen all the time. Yeah. That is now implemented in the game. You don't even need that add-on anymore. It's going to be in the player housing shit. Yeah. One reason why I hated my garrison, Blizz removing gold making. You can always find ways to make gold. Yeah, just because they removed it doesn't mean that there aren't ways. Yeah. You're talking about the daily tables? Well, that's like small gold, you know? Yeah. But I guess if you're just looking to make, like, you know, a little bit of gold here and there easily without, you know, farming things, I guess.
Hello, we are live. Welcome to the World of Warcraft.
Do I need to refresh it? Thanks for the follow. How did my bot say it? I'm gonna say Sevdoga. Sevdoga. It's close enough, right?
And I go by Kyvax on the Warcraft community team. We recently...
Hold on. BRB for a sec. I'm just gonna refresh this page. And...
in the deep dive video, the neighborhoods ultimately are anchored.
One sec, guys. I'm just fixing some stuff because their audio's off.
You delivered.
He's just off. I refreshed and he's still off. Okay. I'm on my way back, guys. Okay. So Ian seems to be perfectly with his mouth and voice, but this guy's a little off.
Warcraft Midnight Q&A.
So we'll just get past
Randy
this
Jordan,
guy and it'll be fine.
I go by Kyvax on the Warcraft community team. We recently asked WoW players on forums and social media sites to submit questions, and you delivered. So, we've got 3 leaders of the WoW development team here. Please introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Ian Hasikostas, Game Director on WoW.
Hi, my name is Paul Cubitt. I'm Associate Game Director on World of Warcraft, working on the Midnight expansion.
Hi, I'm Maria Hamilton. I'm the Design Director for WoW.
We got a lot of questions, and I want to get right to them. We're going to start with some housing questions. So, Cyglaive on the forums asked, it actually said, during a Gamescom interview, it was mentioned that Horde players would be able to use Alliance-style housing exteriors and vice versa. However, in a recent blog post, it was stated that the housing styles would be faction-locked. Can we get clarification on that?
Yes, there was a bit of confusion definitely around the Gamescom messaging there. As we just saw in the deep dive video, the neighborhoods ultimately are anchored in specific locations in the world. If you are in the Alliance neighborhood, you are on the outskirts of Stormwind in the Elwyn area. If you are in the Horde neighborhood, you're on the outskirts of Orgrimmar. While private neighborhoods can be cross-faction, you can have your guildmates, you can have your friends of the opposite faction move in, the general setting, the exterior houses there are going to reflect the location. The NPCs that are wandering around the neighborhood, again, are anchored in that place in the world. Maybe something that we revisit down the line, but for the time being, if you're in the Horde neighborhood, the home exteriors need to reflect the Horde aesthetic. Take that up with the Orgrimmar HOA if there's a concern.
Speaking of things wandering around, a player named Hey Hey on the EU Spanish forums asked, I know there are plans for combat pets to appear in housing. Are there also plans for hunter pets?
Yes, so pets are something in general.
I will say that is one of my favorite features of my garrison. I always love watching all my pets that I've collected just wandering around the garrison. Yeah. I still don't think they'll make me happier than I am with my garrison. You know, the garrison has a lot of cute things attached to it, but they could with enough updates, you know. But the garrison's more open, and I like that. You know, you're gonna be kind of enclosed inside of a house, right? Like I like the openness that the garrison has.
We're working towards at release in Midnight. Battle pets won't be available to be placed just yet. I think something that we need to solve to make that work on the engineering side is actually
so garrison's still better. Okay,
move comfortably around whatever configuration of objects you might happen to place in your home or in your yard. So we are planning on delivering that shortly after launch. Alongside that, we do want to add the ability to place your mounts in your mount collection. If you want to, have them on a hitching post in your yard, that's something we'd love to deliver as well.
That's cool.
Hunter pets are probably trickier. Those are character specific, and housing is an account-wide system really tied to your warband. And so,
So what would be cool is if you could place them outside, and then you know how when you're doing a quest and you gotta like mount something, there's like that icon, and then you just hop on the mount. That would be cool, so that you don't necessarily summon those mounts. You just like walk out of your house and you just click on it and then you go. Oh, that would be pretty badass. You know, I might be thinking quite further ahead than they are as usual, but I think, obviously people are going to want that, right? So they're, eventually you're going to need to do that.
Pulling from a specific character's hunter pet stable would probably be much more challenging. I'll never say never, but that's not in the plans currently.
Decor. Bjorky on Reddit asked, how will the trading post housing items work? Let's say there's a chair on the trading post. Will we have to buy the chair multiple times if we want a set of 4 in our house? Will there be a 10-chair bundle for a set price? Or will the purchase give us infinite amount of
discounted trader post currency? Calling it right now. You buy the first one, and then you do need to buy the rest, but it'll be discounted, and it'll be trader's currency.
chairs?
This is something we spent a good amount of time thinking about. There's going to be lots of ways that you can get decor starting in 11.2.7 and then into Midnight through achievements, through crafting, through completing just the campaign of Midnight and so on. And we ran into a lot of the same questions that you asked, the person who asked this question.
Yes.
Yes, and for that reason, we're actually just not going to have them on the trading post, at least for the first few months. There should be plenty of other ways that you could start gathering decor for your
He did
house.
say at
And
least
you won't
for
have
the
to have
first
to make
few,
that hard
though.
decision between, do I want this chair versus this cool mount or cool transmog?
Another question comes from Xanther on the forums. Xanther asked, how will outdoor housing plots work? If I want a certain plot and it's taken, do I have the option to try another
Taken?
instance?
Oh, yeah.
Say what? Say what? You have to battle against other people to what? Fuck.
Absolutely. Essentially, when you want to move house, you're just going to say, yep, it's time to move.
Man, I hope you all pre-ordered, because if that's the case, you want to be in there on, when did they say? December 2nd, I think? You want to be in there when that shit launches. The minute, you might as well just take the day off work that day, guys. Because if that's how that works. Wow.
Move. It's all going to get packaged up for you. Paul likes to say that a mage comes along and puts it into an arcane ball for you. Don't know if that's actually,
That is what happens.
Oh, totally. Okay. And then you can go to wherever you'd like to sort of deploy your house, and it just comes right back out of the bubble, set up exactly how you had it. So you can move around neighborhoods, you can move around different plots within a neighborhood. Yep, totally transportable.
Right on. Celia on the German WoW forums asked, will there be updates to the guild system in Midnight?
I think most of the updates we see to the guild system are going to be in the form of neighborhoods.
You know, on your comment, Drackle, I was thinking, we'll do a guild thing, for those that are part of our guild, and yeah, we'll have some stuff going on, like, I'll have my solo whatever, and then the neighborhoods, and we'll do the stream one. Well, it's not called the stream one, but yeah. People can brag about their houses. I did not, sadly. That's not something I'm able to do at this moment. Well, it don't matter, Tristan, because early access housing is until December 2nd, so you can wait till December 1st if you wanted, Yeah. It's just that requires the pre-purchase. Yeah. If you wanted to fiddle with your housing, and it sounds like it would be a race to get where you want it. I don't know. Yeah.
We expect to see a lot of guilds, especially guilds who are playing a lot actively with one another, to build guild neighborhoods where you'll be able to live alongside one another. So instead of the typical ways you're interacting with one another in WoW, whether that's raid nights, Mythic Plus nights, PvP, whatever it is you choose to do, you might also just start running into one another in the morning when you go out to get the paper. And so really looking forward to seeing guilds build.
You should put that in the game, that we can go get the paper.
The other systemic trappings.
That would be badass. They could put some NPC little boy that throws the paper at the doors, and then the paper, you read it, and it's the daily things to do that day. Yes, put that in, Blizzard. Man, I need to be part of this team.
Something that we know is definitely due for a refresh.
I have some damn good ideas.
There since the beginning. and there's definitely room for improvement. Our focus for Midnight, though, really was on the housing integration side of it, and the rest of the system is something we hope to get back to in the near future.
A highly upvoted question on Reddit comes from Chilligok. Chilligok asked, will we ever get another texture update for older races? Especially compared to Earthen, the hairstyles are outdated now.
We do have a couple which are coming in Midnight.
I think Earthen
As
looked
you
fine.
complete the Amani campaign in Zulaman, you will be able to unlock some cool cosmetics for Darkspear Trolls, some cool hairstyles, and actually skin colors as well. And so if you have any Darkspear Trolls on your account, you play through the campaign, you'll be able to get some cool customizations. And this is one of the ways that we do try to approach this, is as it's appropriate to the story, we'll look for cool ways that you can integrate cosmetics into your own character. That's not the only way that we might do this, though.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's something that we see as an issue to chip away at over time. We want to roll out extra customizations, hairstyles, you name it, for the existing races to continue to bring them up to parity with the very newest options. It's not something we're able to do all at once, but particularly where it makes sense and fits the story, we're excited to keep adding them. Our long-term goal is to get to a place where every race, whether brand new or one of the original ones, has roughly the same number of options.
So, as we just saw in the deep dive and going back to the Gamescom announcement, we have a system coming called Prey. And I have a couple of questions here about Prey. System of Cells on Reddit asked, will the Prey system make all mobs in the target zone more challenging, or only the Prey target plus world quests unique to that system?
Yeah, it will affect everything in the zone for you. So if you have chosen to go into the zone chasing a nightmare mode prey, everything is going to be much harder for you. It's based on an aura that's put on you, sort of like it's almost like an affliction in a way, or a torment. And as you move through that zone, it's going to be harder.
And the player in Prey is on their own?
They are when they finally wear down that boss. If it's in one of the harder modes, then you need to go mano a mano. If it's in the normal mode, then the rest of the players in the vicinity can help you out.
Gotcha. The WoW creator Fandy asked, is the Prey system planned to be a part of the World Row in Vaults?
Yeah, in one way or another. You know, as we build our expansion, one of the last things that comes in is specifics on rewards. So we don't have the specific details now, but when we do look at Prey, we look at it as similar in difficulty and sort of player activity to the types of things that you do in Delves. And Delves do take up that bottom row of the World Row in the Great Vault as well. So we do expect, if you're running Prey, you're going to see better rewards in that row in one way or another.
Good. I want to get to one of the most highly upvoted questions we saw across all channels. This is from Weird Dandom Ally on Reddit. And that goes, any plans to rejuvenate the glyph system? All classes could take advantage of it for class visual customizations like warlocks have with their pets and druids with their forms.
Yeah, I miss making
so
glyphs.
There isn't a glyph overhaul planned for Midnight at launch in particular, but the general question of more customization for spell visuals, transforms, things along those lines, that's one that we're also very excited about and always looking to offer more customization, more cosmetic self-expression where possible. And the glyph system is a great vehicle for this. It's not the only vehicle, but where it makes sense, that's definitely one of the avenues we would use.
Speaking of highly upvoted questions, we got a lot from the PvP community. I want to ask a few of those. So starting with Keth Cup on Reddit, the question is, do you have any plans on making PvP less daunting for new players?
We absolutely do, yeah.
They
We're
literally
excited to
have
introduce a new
solo
feature called Training
shuffle. What
Grounds.
else they
This is
want?
a feature where players can enter battlegrounds fighting alongside other players against game-controlled opponents. So instead of fighting against other PvPers, potentially people who have been playing this mode much longer than you, who have better PvP gear than you, and are going to wipe the floor with you, you'll be able to fight against some opponents who you'll have a little bit more of a satisfying win rate against. And because of that, we think this will be a pretty good on-ramp for people who are PvP curious, who want to get into PvP, but feel like there's just too much of a steep on-ramp because of those daunting aforementioned players who want to wipe the floor with you. This is going to start with...
I personally find PvP has never been easier right now. You know, like... like, back when it was resilience gear, it was a little... You know, you had to really gear and stuff to... Yeah... Yeah, it's weird when I hear comments like that because it's never been easier to get into PvP.
A couple battlegrounds that players will be able to jump into with training grounds, and we'll see where we go from there.
I think,
Okay.
we love PvP, broadly speaking. I think one of the challenges is it can be very daunting to get in, as the question implies. If you're getting into PvP for the first time, you're in some cases jumping into a pool that's filled with sharks who've been doing this for 20 years. But there's so much, there's nothing quite like World of Warcraft PvP and that style of conflict, that style of combat. And so really our philosophical approach as we move into Midnight to really try to rejuvenate and grow the scene is to broaden the base of that pyramid so we can kind of lift the whole thing up and help all levels of it, whether you are the most hardcore person competing for titles at the end of every season. Everyone will be better served if people feel like they can actually enter this community for the first time and discover what is so great about WoW PvP.
Let's all be sharks.
So eventually,
The PvP player and creator known as Supatees had the most highly upvoted question on our forums.
Of
He
course.
wrote, in the War Within, we saw
Like he's a
major
streamer.
reward improvements and restructuring for Mythic Plus, which improved participation. Are there plans to look at the current reward structure for PvP, such as rating cutoffs or additional rewards?
There are definitely plans to look at this. One thing I can say that will be changing at launch in Midnight and the first season of Midnight is that top tier cutoff coming down from 2,400 to 2,300 for those rewards and titles. I think looking at how MMR has evolved and how the rating ecosystem has played out, that's been a bit too exclusive even for some of our best players. Broadly speaking, beyond that, I think there's a lot more that we would like to do with the system. That's not necessarily going to be happening right at launch in Midnight, but if you look, for example, at what we changed with Mythic Plus and new titles and new structure and things like the resilient keystone system in War Within, those changes came in War Within patches. So as we look to PvP and its evolution over the course of Midnight, that's definitely an area that we want to focus on.
Got another one. Sandent on the WoW forums wrote, will War Mode receive more well-needed attention? More activities like zone objectives?
War Mode
or
needs
rotating
more
events?
attention.
Maybe
Yeah.
a free-for-all treatment?
Yeah, we're adding a whole new area into the Voidstorm zone.
That was a good
giant
question.
War Mode area, which reflects the same space as the Slayer's Rise Battleground. If you watched the deep dive video, you got to see that. That Slayer's Rise is also made manifest in the zone itself. And this is, if you've played War Mode in past expansions, you know that we've taken a couple War Mode areas and had maybe one in each zone, one in Ringing Deeps and one in Isle of Dorn, where PvP, when you enable War
I'm just going to say, if you are a person that finds PvP daunting and you're trying to get into it, the best way you could start is War Mode. War Mode is a great way to kind of get used to that atmosphere. And yeah, if you can survive going out in War Mode and taking on, a few battles here and there against other players, then you'll do fine in the rest of PvP. But if you struggle in even War Mode, then you're just not, you're not going to handle regular PvP very well, right? But I think it's a great way to test yourself because it's really how it all started. Back in the day when I first delved into PvP, it was world PvP pretty much, right? Like, yeah, it's a good way to, put your foot in the water or whatever the saying is. Test the waters.
Mode, you'll have some special, unique activities. We took all those and glumped them all together right into this Slayer's Rise area, and so there's going to be a huge...
See, the biggest problem that I find is that a lot of people have turned War Mode on, but only for the perks, only to gain an extra bit of leveling or whatnot. They don't really do the actual function it's meant for, right? So yeah.
Huge PvP playground if you have War Mode on.
I miss Reforging too.
World-class activities, reasons to just kill one another, and even if you don't have War Mode enabled, there'll still be PvP-themed content for folks doing world quests up in that area.
Why would you not have War Mode enabled?
Right?
That's a very good question. Yeah.
Because you're afraid of sharks.
Yeah, it's sharks.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Thank you. So,
Because you're
Maclemente26 on Reddit asked a question that we saw a lot of, which is, when can we expect reputations from expansions prior to Shadowlands to become Warbound reputations?
So yeah, taking full accountability here. I know that when we rolled out the warbands, we said that we were going to work our way backwards through reputations. We haven't made progress as quickly as we would have liked. We got some of the Shadowlands reputations, but not the Covenant ones. This is something we're going to pick up and resume. I can't commit to a definite timetable, but in the long run, we don't want this, internal disparity.
It'll be in a patch. They always make those changes in the middle of expansions. So yeah, that won't be something that comes with Midnight. And it might not be something in Midnight, but it'll be in one of the expansions in probably a minor patch. Yeah.
Between how different expansions reputations are handled, and we'll continue to start with the most recent and work our way backwards.
Thank you. 610 on Blue Sky said, War Within is the first WoW expansion without a legendary. Can we expect anything in Midnight, or is the team taking time to reevaluate what place legendaries have in the modern game?
We just don't know about it yet.
We always want to avoid things seeming
there could still be one
where it's like, okay, you can expect it's a new season, there's going to be a new legendary, this is how it's going to work. Legendaries should always remain special. They should feel like these are items that have clear stories behind them and feel worthy of that special orange color. And yes, we're also looking always at issues with how they're awarded. We want to make sure they feel special, but also don't turn into something where it feels bad or grindy because they feel required if you want to be competitive. There's a fine line to walk there. There aren't currently any planned for the first tier of Midnight, but as we face certain
I like the bad and grindy, because you know exactly what legendary he was talking about there, right? The evoker one. Like yeah. I didn't even I don't really like evokers, so I didn't even really start that one, but my friends did, and they hated that. Yeah, that's probably exactly what he's thinking about when he made that comment.
On the line, it may make sense for some of the items that they yield to have that orange color, and we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
I want to ask some lore questions. So, as Mira asked, will we be getting any more background information on story regarding Lyrath Windrunner? Sorry. Any of the other Windrunner family members, perhaps?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was in Dragonflight.
I don't want to talk too much about patches, but certainly in Midnight, as we go into the Spire, you will have the opportunity.
Can't remember what raid it
really
involved,
get,
but
a brother's view.
Dragonflight's like a whole big blur
and an
to
opportunity to learn a lot more about what happened and what's happening in that place. And
all I know is it was
before,
super
we're
low
gonna
drop
see
rate.
the sisters.
And Grody Toady on Blue Sky wants to ask about trolls. So here come all the names. Where is Vol'jin's story in all of this? I'm hoping we find a way to weave Vol'jin, Talanji, Zul'jin, Rokan, Zul'Jan, and Zul'Jara into a cohesive story about troll unity or cooperation.
Well, right out of the gate in Midnight, you're not going to see that combination of trolls, but you will see a combination of some trolls as we continue into patches and move forward. We're very much focused on what's going on with the trolls as well as what's going on with the Blood Elves. They have not always been on the best of terms for reasons, and there's definitely a story to be told about their relationship, and all of those folks come into that story.
Groxy on Blue Sky said, Midnight sees the Paladin forces of Azeroth fighting back the Void at the Sunwell. Can we hope to see more lore about the Tauren and Azeroth's sun god Ansha? Eyes of the Earth Mother told us how he and Elune slash Musha fought possibly the Void in ancient Azeroth.
Well, we are going to hang out with Desco a little bit in the Erator's Journey portion of our campaign at Midnight. And I feel like we certainly are going to look at how the Tauren view their mythologies, perhaps later in The Last Titan.
Okay, good. Let's talk about add-ons. The WoW creator Polka TV said, given the upcoming removal of many boss mod tools, How do you plan to preserve
my
the
God.
intended difficulty of encounters
It's always
once
like
these tools
the
are no
WoW
longer
creator.
So yeah, this is
It's like,
great
are they
question. For
not
some
a
extra
player?
context, I think folks
They
are going to
get a
see
special
in the
title.
next day or two, as some of the media interviews we've done in the last day go out, that we are rolling out so changes to the add-on API with the launch of Midnight. And so that is going to remove the ability for add-ons to read in real time combat state and combat information specifically. And one of the big reasons why we're doing this with the launch of a new expansion is so that
More
we can
dragon
really build
riding.
all of our combat, our encounters around that expectation, around this new ecosystem. As we've been discussing over the course of the year, really the main goal with this shift is to create a level playing field where external tools are no longer felt to be required in order to engage in the content, at a competitive level. And also to shift some of the things that we are testing when it comes to difficulty, maybe away from Twitch reactions and how quickly you can run to the circle or diamond marker that your add-on told you to run to, and rather to more of the collaborative coordination that have traditionally marked cooperative PvE in WoW. But the goal is to keep difficulty largely the same. In terms of how many pulls it takes to down a boss for your guild, whether you are aiming for ahead of the curve and defeating heroic, or whether you're pushing into mythic or whatever else, overall it should take you about the same amount of time to accomplish what you're used to accomplishing. It's just that difficulty may come in slightly different places. Without add-ons to solve mechanics for you in real time, it may well be the case that we just need to give you a couple more seconds to get into place, or that there should be one fewer add to interrupt, or what have you. We are going to be rolling out, we're actually going to be launching alpha with a raid boss available for testing early on. We have a ton of native improvements to the UI, like boss timers, boss alerts, so you can see a timeline of upcoming boss abilities, nameplate improvements, cooldown manager improvements, and more to, again, kind of create.
I think it's good that they're implementing more kind of add-on stuff into this, but I think they need to start banning the add-ons, because if you make it easier due to no add-ons and then you have people still using the add-ons, then you've made it even easier for the add-on users, right? And they're gonna clear things even that much faster, which makes the devs feel like their content isn't hard enough, and then they make it harder, and like that's how we're in this situation to begin with, right? And yeah, I think ultimately, at least the combat stuff, I do like some of my add-ons, but the only add-ons that I really use are quality of life, like for collection and stuff. They need to start fucking banning some of that shit. Yeah. If their plan is to, be add-on free, I guess. Did he mention AOTC? Why would he? What do you mean? Yeah, if you're talking about AOTC for like midnight, yeah, we are way far away from that. Like that don't get mentioned prior to that don't get mentioned prior to a release. It don't get mentioned at release. Like you're not gonna know about that AOTC till mid expansion. Yeah, that's not something they're gonna mention. Yeah.
A unified experience that's baked into the UI, but the goal at the end of the day is for difficulty to remain where it was, and we will be making tuning changes in alpha and beta, as well as, of course, once these encounters are live, to make sure that things are landing in the right place and players still feel well equipped to overcome the challenges in front of them.
Following that, Sped Bros on Reddit asked, what is your plan for upkeep and development of these now built-in add-ons?
Yeah, so I think the functionality that we're pulling into the base UI is something that, as always, we're going to be evolving in response to player feedback. Again, part of why we're very excited to get people having a look at these right at the start of alpha is so that we have the entirety of the alpha and beta cycle to iterate on them before Midnight launches. And then, of course, as always, even after the game is live, we're going to continue to add functionality based on the player requests and the feedback that we're receiving.
Ossicrond on the WoW forums said, Sculpting your UI over the years is almost like working on a classic car. Fine-tuning with different fonts, color palettes, and even different types of glow alerts. What is the depth of the available customization, and are there plans to expand it in the future?
So there's a couple of facets to this question. First off, couldn't agree more.
I think personally, they are going to have the same problem with upkeep on add-ons as people who want to be the next WoW have problems with being the next WoW, you know? And what I mean by that is it's been too long. You know, the reason a lot of WoW competitors lose out on WoW is because they're competing against a 20-year game. In their case, they're competing against 20 years of people building add-ons and maintaining add-ons and adding extra customization to it. Like, a lot of the add-ons I have, like, they have more than people realize in the add-on. It's really once you delve into settings of add-ons, you realize how much is involved in that particular add-on, you know? And yeah, I think that's where they're going to have the problem, is people are going to still want to use their add-ons because there's going to be, you know, certain features of a particular add-on that they just haven't implemented yet, you know? And you didn't get scammed out of AOTC in Season 1, Tristan. You have to raid. And like I told you this back when you said it, you know, there is no scamming out of AOTC. You put the work in, you get it. You don't put the work in, you don't get it. That's how it works.
More that I think, you know, UI customization and using add-ons to tailor the aesthetic of a UI, how information is presented and where it's presented, I think are one of the hallmarks of the WoW experience and really one of the strengths of the game for going on 21 years now. There are no plans to eliminate or remove that. The approach we've taken in changing the way the add-on API works really is just focused on access to that real-time information. There'll be details coming out very soon from our UI engineering team on exactly how this works. But whereas in the past, when we have restricted aspects of what add-ons can do, we tend to just kind of wall off sections of our UI and say add-ons can't touch this at all. But when it comes to things like nameplates or unit frames and the like, that would have been an unacceptable approach here because that aesthetic customization is so essential. So there's a brand new system that's been created where essentially, you know, pieces of information about what's going on in combat are put in a black box. And add-ons can paint that box pink or yellow or green or make it bigger or smaller, but what they can't do is know exactly what's inside the box and use that to drive logic. In addition to that, the new UI.
See, that's one reason I'd love to see them go all in with add-ons, because the reality is, and only people who use a good chunk of add-ons will get me with this one, but when you have multiple add-ons, you start having error messages. And why do you get error messages? Because the add-ons conflicting with the WoW UI, right? And that's where it could be really good if they were just running all the add-ons, because then they would be maintained in a way where you wouldn't get those error messages. And if you did, it wouldn't be as frequent. Like, I literally have an add-on to not show me those error messages anymore. So, because I would get so many, because I have like 600 add-ons. No joke. And yeah, so it would be nice if they implemented, like, I think for me, they would never get to, I don't think they'd have all the add-ons that I like, but I think they could get close. Yeah.
UI functionality that we're adding, whether it's improved nameplates or whatever, have extensive customizations in terms of, you know, size, shape, location, aesthetic, all of the edit mode functionality, and more.
I don't get lag from my add-ons, Tristan, so I don't know. That might be something with your computer, maybe? The only thing that add-ons really do is they will slow your loading screen because they're loading your add-ons in as well. But aside from that, you shouldn't have lag from add-ons. I know all the things has like a freeze that happens sometimes, and then it's like a second, and then it's over, right, when it first loads up. But yeah, if you have lag, then you need to go into the settings and fix that. Because, like, I run hundreds of add-ons and I'm fine. So, yeah, that's a settings thing. The one big thing I will say is if you're going to run add-ons, hit the settings. Don't just install an add-on and expect that it's going to do everything for you. Definitely go change some stuff, and yeah. You going into the settings will help the add-ons run better, honestly. Because they all have it default, you know.
But we have no intent of pulling back in any way from the aesthetic customization that add-ons have always offered.
Cutting to the chase, Felfer on the WoW forums asked, does this mean that existing add-ons like Deadly Boss Mods, Plater, or Details are going to break?
They will change significantly. I think certainly, I mean,
I like my Details. I don't know if I could ever get rid of Details. I guess it depends how they did theirs. But Details has a lot of customization you can put into it. And yeah, they would have to put those extras in.
Day one, if you're logging into alpha and you try to enable them, I do not believe they will work due to changes in the API, but that's standard for any new expansion release. We are inviting the authors of a vast range of add-ons into our first week of alpha, so that's going to be coming up in just the next few days, to get their hands on these changes, to give us feedback about how we can better support their ongoing development. But yes, when it comes to the specific ability to read and process combat information and use that to drive logic, that is going to be changing, and that will affect those add-ons.
Okay, give me one more. This comes from Herrix on the WoW forums. Herrix said, what are the plans regarding improvements to the default raid frames? In the effort to reduce the need for add-ons, raid frames are a major pain point for healers, where the default Blizzard raid frames are basically unusable without at least some external modification.
So yeah, we also have improvements coming to raid frames, definitely with healers in mind. If you're, let's say, a resto druid who wants to be able to see all of your hots on a target, that's something that we agree is very important. And
I still heal the old-fashioned way.
Same with, you know, encounter designers calling out major buffs and debuffs and things that you need to know in
AKA
an encounter,
no
whether you're
healing
a healer
add-ons.
or just a raid leader wanting to keep tabs on the state of the encounter that way. And of course, you know, as mentioned earlier, add-ons will still be able to customize the look and the feel and the size and the overall presentation of raid frames. There just won't be certain functionality that is driving logic based on whether you happen to have a certain debuff or not, but all the rest should still be available.
E. Chow on Blue Sky has a couple of questions.
Blue Sky?
Given the connection to the Army of Light, the Sunwell and Blood Elves in general being their main rival in the Burning Crusade,
Would or wanna be.
Will we see Draenei play any sort of role? Also, will Quel'Thalas be, with Quel'Thalas being part of the main world now, will there be any updates to Forsaken Lands?
So the Draenei, you know, obviously will be part of the fight, you know, part of the battle that we're waging against the Void. But this chapter is focused on the Blood Elves and the Blood Elves struggle with some trolls, and we're gonna really be leaning in there more than we are with the Draenei. Opportunities, you know, will come up for the Draenei to have their moment in the light, as it were.
Yeah. And as it goes for like changes to Forsaken Lands, well, there's some minor changes as we've added Quel'Thalas and Zul'Aman into the main body of the Eastern Kingdoms to connect them in. So there's a tunnel in the Forsaken Lands that does connect it in. We are going to see some Forsaken characters as well. We're actually going to be working with a little bit of a deep cut, but Alansis Fowl, the Archpriest, is going to be a character who appears and has a couple interesting interactions and chats with Eretor and Liadrin and others. Yeah, so we're going to continue to build out Forsaken story as we continue.
Yeah, I think looking at, you know, how this is playing out and will continue to. I think we're very excited by some of the reception we've heard from Gamescom onwards about the changes to Silvermoon, Eversong, and more. Honestly, there was a bit of anxiety internally about the idea of revisiting an old location as for one of our zones, whether some players would view that as like somehow lesser than coming up with a brand new place. But I think as people see this full splendor of Silvermoon, get a chance to revisit Eversong and what it's become all these years later, I think the excitement around that really excites us too, because we'd love to be able to tell more new stories in some of the iconic locations that resonate throughout everyone's fandom of Warcraft and what Azeroth is about. And so that will mean updating those locations, and I think that's something that we're excited to do more of as we look forward. Of course, The Last Titan will see us going back to Northrend, so that'll be a story for another day.
I think we for sure discovered that, like, we can tell
Well,
different
people
stories when we
now
go
want to
to
know
old
the
places and
story.
see how
Why
characters
why
have
would
changed, see
you
how the
say
spaces have
that
changed. It's been a
much?
really cool opportunity to do that.
Oh,
in
that.
Midnight.
Let's shift to some class talk. Faxia on Reddit asked, are you planning on adding any new specs?
I meant to pause that part earlier. I was just gonna check the our comments. Might be PC RAM. Maybe this PC is only a year old, but might be. Well, it also could be add-on settings too. You just gotta change some stuff. It could be your PC. I guess it depends what kind of, like, if you gotta, but well, it runs on a toaster, so I don't know.
I think we for sure discovered that, like, we can tell different stories when we go to old places and see how characters have changed, see how the spaces have changed. It's been a really cool opportunity to do that in Midnight.
Let's shift to some class talk. Faxia on Reddit asked, are you planning on adding any new specs that can tank or heal for existing classes?
Not right now in Midnight. I think Devourer, Demon Hunter, and that new range DPS spec for them is our focus right now. But I think we've seen, whether it's this or whether it's augmentation, there's excitement around the idea of established classes getting new specs, and so that is something I think we are likely to explore as we look to the future.
I really
Xerox
liked that
on
Undermine
Reddit asked,
raid. It was
throughout
a
the
lot
War
of fun.
Within, some classes and specs received visual updates, and as a monk player, the update to Vivify was very appreciated. Are there any other classes or specs that can be revealed to be getting updated visuals in Midnight?
Yeah, there's a couple really cool Apex talents. So Apex talents are the new talents you'll be able to learn at the bottom of your spec tree, and a lot of these have some fantastic visuals. Ones that jump out to me are the augmentation, where you summon a bronze dragon version of yourself from the future to fight alongside you for a little bit. The Frost Mage one as well. You summon a Hand of Frost that chases down your target and attack them. And so these are some of the new abilities that are going to get some new custom visuals. As far as, like, looking back at older visuals, as was the case with Vivify, this is something that we tend to do as we continue to build smaller patches. Most of our efforts for Midnight was building all the new stuff, but then as we continue building out the game, we look to the future. This is where we look back at, as we did with Vivify, find abilities where we can raise the floor and say, like, okay, this one has aged not as gracefully as the rest of our visuals, and we can bring it up to par with the rest.
Following that, we found a question from Nihenna on the German forums, and Nihenna asked, will the void/light topic be picked up in any additional class specs in the future? For example, Sunwell effects for a Holy Paladin, or perhaps void powers for a Warlock?
I don't know about void warlocks quite yet, but we do have a existing void themed spec, the Shadow
Void
Priest,
Warlock
Shadow
just
Priest,
seems kind of
which has a new
natural,
ability,
you
Tentacle
know?
Slam, which replaces Shadow Crash, and it is a giant voidy tentacle that slams down in a line in front of you and has a similar AoE component, but a lot more of a classic voidy Shadow Priest idea to it. We also have, on one of our Apex talents, the Discipline Priest has Void Shield, which replaces your Power Word Shield with a Void-themed shield. So there are places where the Void and Light are leaking into our class design.
Going back to the support roles, Neo Sorrow on the EU Spanish forums asked, can we expect anything new regarding the support role in Midnight? Will it be expanded to other classes? Is it considered that it maybe didn't work as expected for augmentation, and perhaps that just becomes a normal damage or healer?
So we're not planning on currently expanding it to other classes, but we're also not planning on changing augmentation to just fit into the existing niches. I think there's a lot of excitement around the idea of support, and I think we've seen players embrace that fantasy. I think we are still iterating on evolving that specialization and getting to a place where we can find a happy medium, where it can kind of realize that fantasy and be effective as someone who bolsters the strength of your allies without also becoming so effective that it feels required in groups and kind of limits composition diversity. I think if we're able to achieve that, hopefully when we're able to achieve that, I do think we would like to look to what other ideas might apply a different fantasy to executing that concept.
I want to switch to the topic of delves. The WoW content creator True Villain Manny said, with delves integrated into the story, will there be certain scenarios that are locked in as we level? And will there be additional story in those alternative scenarios with delves?
Yeah, as we move through the campaign in Midnight, we will be entering delves with specific goals in mind. And that particular variant of the story will have the objectives that we need to accomplish as we go through them. As always, our delves will have multiple variants to play through with different stories occurring. So yes, we will continue to use delves in this way, and look for opportunities to continue to build quest content that enters delves.
So let's go inside. Varteris on the WoW forums said, will delves have even greater variety than in the War Within? Maybe a randomized puzzle to solve, a race, a whole new set of abilities?
Yeah, there's a couple ways that delves are changing. We have a new follower, Valera Sanguinara, is going to come along, and she's going to mix things up. She's takes delves a little bit more seriously than Brand does, and a lot more stabbily
right,
as well.
that's gonna make her
we also
boring.
have, some outdoor delves that are going to take place in outdoor spaces, and so this will just change up not only the vibe
I've never
of the space,
been
but your
fond
ability to
of
move around, because you'll be able to use your ground mounts.
people
to
taking
get
things
around.
seriously.
We're also just taking a look at the mechanics that we're using in delves in Midnight. So you can announce now that Midnight does not have any underwater delves. It also does not have any delves with a mechanic where you have to, say, pick up a candle or a totem and throw it ahead and continue doing that on a continued basis. Folks, let us know how they felt about those, and we're not moving forward with those designs in Midnight.
So Relentless on the EU Spanish forums asked a version of a question we got a lot.
Yeah, I didn't mind the underwater ones. Like, in the first couple were, maybe a little rough, but then, then you remember that there's potions and, yeah, the underwater ones were perfectly fine. Druid. Hey, I mentioned potions. I didn't mention my water form, but it was easy in water form too. But potions anyone could use, so. Or you get a lock in your group that just puts a buff on you. Water is pretty easy to deal with, honestly.
And Ian, what's stopping the World of Warcraft development?
Hold up. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah. What I would like delves to kind of be is just be like a dungeon crawl, that's what I'd prefer. I hate this, do these tasks and then I just want to kill things, get to the boss, kill him, and be done. That's what I wish delves would be. I don't want to be doing these side missions in a delve,
Team, from doing a world revamp. Could we get a world revamp?
I think, the idea of revamping everything at once is a terrifying one, frankly. But I think, as touched on earlier, we definitely want to tell new stories in iconic locations. And in doing that, we would certainly do much more than just do a fresh coat of paint on the area. We would really reimagine it and bring it into the present day, as we have with Eversong. Our current focus is, of course, on the story that we're telling for the rest of the World Soul Saga. That will touch on some familiar locations. But down the line, I think the lessons we are learning and the experiences we're having, revisiting some locations, open the door to doing a lot more of it.
Saw a very upvoted question from Solera, a French WoW player on X. Solera asked, without giving away spoilers, very important.
Okay.
Does Midnight introduce any completely new elven tribes, or expand on lesser known ones? Maybe the Kelderai?
Without spoilers.
Without spoilers.
Right?
That's a tough constraint.
Yeah.
Pass.
Maybe.
That's great.
I don't think it's spoilery to say we're going to be learning a lot about the elves and the elves' relationships with one another, and that would include Quel'Drai.
Thank you. And Zoris on the EU.
Could you imagine storyline, questline locked behind time-locked delve stories? Oh man, that would piss off people, right? Because there's why is my okay? It fixed. I don't know why the camera went blurry there for a sec, but there's actually a lot of people that don't even do delves, right? There's people out there that don't do delves, raids, or M+, and yeah, so I think it would piss off those kind of people, right? Yeah.
Spanish forums asked, with the Devourer specialization, all Demon Hunter abilities will use void effects and icons, even those shared by all three specializations. Has there been any consideration of extending this aesthetic customization to other classes?
So I think philosophically and narratively, what a Void Demon Hunter represents, what a Devourer Demon Hunter represents, is one who, rather than harnessing and channeling fel energy, is channeling void energy to turn it against those who originally wielded it. And so that is going to transform a wide range of their abilities. On the other hand, when we look at, let's say, a Fire Mage or a Frost Mage, they're not forsaking the arcane when they become a Fire Mage. And so Blink is still an arcane spell, and Counterspell is still an arcane spell, and so forth. And so I think when we look at other classes, we generally like to look at that broad base of multiple, areas of focus. And just because you specialize in one thing doesn't mean that that transforms all of the others. That said, touching on some earlier questions, when it comes to, glyph spell customizations and other things that players may want to customize the look and feel of their abilities, there's always an opportunity there.
Another highly upvoted question all over the place. I'll take the version of this question from Navarel on the EU German forums. Would you consider replacing the ready-made group in follower dungeons with characters from the player's warband?
Definitely something we are considering. Not something we're going to be able to deliver for Midnight, but ever since the
That would
introduction
actually
of
be
both
pretty
warbands and follower
cool.
dungeons, this idea, this request has popped up.
I could have
Something
my
that we're
lock
excited about internally
in
as
that
well.
group.
There's some technical hurdles to,
Actually, you know what? It's a great idea, but I'm just going to say I would never dungeon with other people ever again. If I could dungeon with more or less myself, like my characters that I've loved over the years, and let's be real, maybe you don't know this if you've never done a follower dungeon, but if you've done a follower dungeon, they are the best group. They are better than any group you've ever been in. The tank actually tanks. He knows where he's going most of the time. The healer heals you. Like, they are the group you always wish to have when you do an M+ or something, like something hard, and yeah, I think I would just, I would, obviously I'd still group with people because, M+, but I would do a lot of dungeons by myself. Like if I needed to just do M0s or something, if they added Mythic, because Mythic isn't part of it. But, if you needed to do like a dungeon, I already only do follower dungeons for the weekly, so yeah, if I needed some random thing out of like a normal dungeon, it would be cool if they would up it, though. I would totally love to do some M0s with my followers. My followers in-game, not you guys.
pull that information down in real time and make it work, but it's something we do want to deliver down the line.
Ian's not lying about technical hurdles. There were multiple technical hurdles in the way. We're actually jumping over one of them with Training Grounds, where we're changing the way that some of those game-controlled characters or bots are built to be building Training Grounds in this way gets us one hurdle closer to being able to do what you're asking for.
There are so many people on this development team that I would call technical hurdlers. Engineers, that's just what they do. They jump over hurdles. So, Maria, Silo on the WoW forums asked, will there be new mini-game type quests in Midnight?
Yes, there will be. We actually have a new mechanic that was created for Zulaman specifically, where you will do some, underwater stuff, but it's quite fun. It's the Amani Abyss.
Interesting. They took underwater stuff out of Delves, but yet they put underwater stuff in. Oh, that's hilarious, actually.
Style. You're gonna be going fishing troll style.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a revelation. I like that. While we're revealing things, Musselton on the WoW forums asked, I'm extremely excited for the Heronir. Can you share more information on their druid forms?
Ugh.
Well,
Their
conveniently,
druid forms are
if you
ugly.
watched, the deep dive, you saw a flash of those. Fundamentally,
I'll have to
they all have
pick the
quills,
most attractive
to
form
throw
of
back
them
to
all.
sort of the Heronir. But the tank form is a pangolin bear with sort of bat-like ears.
They all sort of got those ears.
Yeah,
right?
they got the ears and the quills. And we have a wolverine for our feral spec. We have an owl-like, quilled owl-like sort of boomkin. But best of all has got to be the swimming form, the swimming travel form, which is an axolotl.
Axolotl.
With quills.
We're all going to learn how to say axolotl.
Yeah,
Right.
I probably said it wrong, but yeah.
No, I think you got it right.
I'll butcher it every time.
The
As I
reveal of the
tend to do.
Heronir led to a very common question. And a version of that question that I want to ask you came from Racktoner on Reddit. Can you explain the decision-making process for which races to make playable races?
A lot of this comes down to narrative. There's no secret that we started talking to the Heronir in the War Within, and this was not a coincidence either. We wanted to build a familiarity with Orwena, with her crew, so you'd understand who these characters are when they do eventually become playable characters, as we've added them in Midnight. And of course, Midnight is part of a 3-chapter saga. We're in the middle chapter now. The Heronir are going to be a big, important part of this story, and this is why we chose to fold them in.
I feel bad often being the bearer of bad news in these conversations, but I know that it's not lost on us that there are widespread requests from players who would love to be a Sethrak or an Ethereal or the like. And part of the question there is, as Paul said, narratively, does it make sense
Murloc's
for
been
this
like
faction
the
to
one
really
people
join
have
the
wanted
Alliance
for
and
the
Horde
longest.
if there's, if they're cosmic, extraplanar, or more neutral by nature? But the reality of it is also, from a production perspective, one of the things we grapple with is that adding a brand new race to World of Warcraft is one of the most development-intensive things we can do, not just in one-time time commitment, but also in the long-term carrying cost for every set of armor we ever make for years and years to follow. And it's something that we have to weigh very, very heavily when we do. Building a race that uses or shares an existing rig, an existing skeleton, if it's an elven race or the like, makes that more straightforward. Again, that's not to say we're never going to add very novel or meaningfully different races down the line, but it's a very high bar for us to clear when we look at how much ultimately it's going to mean that we have to do less of in other places forever in order to support this additional race alongside the others.
As I've said to you before, I want Saberon. I will wait. I will be patient. Please give me Saberon. So, Massive Bear on the WoW forums asked, will Heronir be unlockable in the 3 days of early access? I remember.
Yeah, I was going to say,
no, not during
only
the first
housing.
days. So during that early access, we want to make sure that we're letting players who are in that early access be able to play through the campaign and understand what's going on, but not getting any meaningful jumps ahead of anyone else who does not have that early access.
Meredith on the WoW forums asked, how is Blizzard progressing in the war against toxicity in terms of the entire game?
Yeah, this is something that's a huge focus for us, and really there's many facets to the question and the discussion. I think when people say toxicity, there's a few different meanings, perhaps, or things that they're referring to. Some of it is just the overt, hostile, harmful, antagonistic interactions that may occur online between players. We're always continuing to shore up our reporting tools, improve real-time monitoring, and get to a place where people who are disrupting our game world can be punished and ultimately removed from it if they continue to do that. On the other hand, though, I think sometimes when people talk about a community or a portion of the game feeling toxic, that can arise from just mismatched expectations. Like, if I am listing a group and I'm trying to run a raid, and I have done that raid 12 times, and I have been through groups that have wiped and learned the encounters, it's reasonable for me as a leader of a pug to only want players who have a certain level of experience, who have
Glad he
also
said
been
it.
through those learning wipes and can succeed quickly. And so someone who is looking to learn may feel...
Because that's what I've been saying for a while. It's like, yes, there's toxic people in WoW. It's not great to have toxic people, but it's not great to have people that don't want to learn things either, right? Like, yeah, toxicity to an extent is bad, but that doesn't mean you have to just let anyone into your fucking group, right? Because at the end of the day, if your bosses aren't going down because of them, you've wasted your night away. It takes a while to do things, and WoW, so yeah. So I'm glad he sees both sides of that.
Feel like, oh, this is very unwelcoming, this is kind of toxic, why aren't we, why am I not welcome here? And ultimately, that's an issue of aligning expectations. And I think there's a lot more that we can do on the pro-social side of things to help people find like-minded players and like-minded groups. There's nothing wrong with wanting to complete something quickly and efficiently. There's also very certainly nothing wrong with wanting to learn and wanting a patient group. Now, if you mix those two groups, there are going to be some conflicts that emerge naturally because of different goals and expectations. So I think a lot of what we're focused on right now is also how we can help players better connect with like-minded individuals so that they can have...
You know what they should do? They should make it a section in the premates so that, people who are just like going in for the first time or something, they go into like a learning group,
satisfying experiences where everyone is on the same page, working towards the same goals.
Thank you. I want to rip through some more housing questions. We've got several. Will we get to see our alts walking about, or maybe sitting in a chair in our house? Paul?
Yeah, this is, we're looking at a lot of the same technical hurdles we talked about earlier, not only with being able to show players, other players in game, but also the pathing issues that Ian mentioned when it comes to being able to have your pets moving around and mounts moving around and whatnot. So not planned yet, but something we do talk about as a potential for the future. And I'll take this moment to say that housing is one of those features which is really exciting for us because there are so many cool ways for it to grow. As we've built Midnight and we're sharing housing for the first time, we're going to be looking to you to tell us, what do you want? Is it that we want to see our house? Do we want more features? Do we want more decor? Do we want more ways that I can style the interior, exterior of my house? So let us know as you continue playing.
Yeah, philosophically, with a feature the size of housing, this is something we've been working on for a very long time to really deliver what players have been expecting and what they deserve. But there comes a point when we're developing, especially a social feature, where we're almost hesitant to take it too far until we can actually share it with the community and understand what people are into, what they're maybe not into so much, what they want more of, what they don't need more of, to make sure that we're really putting our time and our resources in the places that are going to maximize that value for players. And so we're so excited to see people jump in the months ahead in alpha and beta, of course, and then beginning this December on the live servers and see where it goes from there.
So here's a very specific question from Alastril on the WoW forums. For housing and professions, it was stated that professions through all expansions will be able to craft housing items. Will we be able to use this as a skill catch-up for the past expansions? For example, could a leather worker start at Wrath Leatherworking Skill 1 and craft Wrath-themed housing items to get all the way to level 75?
I mean, these will give skill ups for sure. Yeah, I don't know how many of them will be available at level 1, for example. They may be tuned based on how elaborate the piece of decor is, but in general, yeah, once you get the level that you're able to build these things, then you continue to use them to level up.
So many very specific.
You know, they haven't mentioned it yet, but I'm just gonna say that's totally seasonal, right? Like, yeah, I'm so sure that that's not your bar like all of midnight. Yeah, that is a battle pass. That is 100% a battle pass, and you'll have it every season of midnight. Yeah, 100%. But they just haven't really mentioned that yet.
Specific requests.
They just
I want to just
talk
give you this one.
talk about it
It comes from Spara
on
on the
its
WoW
own.
forums. Is it possible to add a functional bookshelf to player housing that could store and display collected in-game books? I have a lot of those.
Okay, this is what I'm talking about. That like once you share housing with the world, then 1,000 cool ideas come out, and so we'll start gathering up all these cool ideas and say, what can we do next? I can confirm there will be bookshelves. Whether those bookshelves will be functional, no, not at least to start. But this is a really cool idea for a collection that we're gonna take back to the team.
And a couple more. Ian, Devanir on Reddit wrote, what is the minimum player limit for a private or guild neighborhood? What happens if you make a private neighborhood with the minimum amount of people and then some of them go away?
So this is something that's still a bit in flux. I think our current thinking is that just like signing a guild charter, you'll need 10 players to charter a private neighborhood. And that's for a couple of reasons. Part of it is, in order for neighborhood systems endeavors to really function optimally, there's a certain number of players that are going to be expected to really drive the system. But also a piece of it is just server performance. Using an extreme example, if literally every single player online had their own personal neighborhoods, that would be potentially millions of simultaneous entire districts that need to get spun up, trying to make sure the servers don't melt here. And so striking a balance between what's going to be a good social experience, but also recognizing that players have friend groups of various sizes, and we want to be as flexible as possible. I think if we're able to lower that number from where we're starting, it's something we would aim to do as we see how the tech side of it unfolds.
I saw an upvoted question on Reddit from a player named Backstabbeth, and this is a question I have myself.
Fairly a trustworthy fellow.
Very much. Will there be a list of collections and their sources for housing materials before housing goes live?
All the things
so that we can
my comment
start hunting for those items, maybe reputation, achievement requirements. I'd love to know what I already have or what I'm close to having.
Yeah, a ton of that is going to be visible in the alpha build coming up in just a day, but we'll have a blog summarizing it, so you don't need to go trawling for the information, and that way everyone can get a head start on checking off those achievements that you may have missed.
Let's come back.
Someone
to
will eventually make an add-on for it.
Here. Bale
once
Samel on the
it's
WoW
more
forums asked, "Are we getting a capybara, Loa? There are capybaras in the Yamani screenshots. The people yearn for a capybara, Loa."
I have one in my Disney.
There is one. His name is Philo, the capybara Loa of children.
Oh, nice. And I hope he has a prominent headdress.
Absolutely, and a glorious necklace.
That's perfect. Loa's should be very well outfitted, I think. Finnerfin on the WoW forums asked, could we see the return of class quest lines? Legion was great, and it was fun to have a unique experience questing on alts.
Yeah, class quest lines come up really often as something people are excited about. We certainly do want to look more at, expanding on classes. We had a lot of fun doing the Warlock one, for example, not too long ago. But most recently, the best way for you to play some class quest lines, if you never played them, has to do with our lore walking, because where we had restrictions, for example, on the Xalatath story, previously, a lot of people didn't know anything about Xalatath and the knife, and by playing that lore walking, they had the opportunity to play that portion of the priest quest line. So we're hoping that as we build more lore walking, you'll have that opportunity to see some of that, but this is certainly an area that the quest and narrative team would be thrilled to.
I think they should have advertised lore walking better then, because I would have started lore walking a long time ago if I'd known that there was like class quest lines in there. Yeah, they didn't advertise that very well whatsoever. I was under the impression that lore walking was meant for the player who hasn't played for 20 years and just wants a quick story of what's been going on in WoW, which obviously I know, right? But yeah, they should have said more about lore walking when they brought it out.
To do more of.
Good. It's our last question. And I cobbled this together from versions of this question that I found everywhere. I want to give a shout out to some of the people that I borrowed this from. Aziriel, Simplejack, Martian, Zuburius on our forums, all asked versions of this. Ian, how will player power progression be updated in Midnight, especially regarding Valor Stones?
So yes, so the way the upgrade system's played out over the last couple of expansions, I think we're happy with the sort of granular incremental progression that complements that spiky randomness of loot drops. But there is, and we agree with player feedback that we've heard, potentially one too many moving pieces and a bit too much complexity in the current system. So I can announce that Valor Stones as a currency will be going away in Midnight. You're already needing to gather the crests that you need.
No one will be sad.
We're also looking to streamline the system a little bit and more clearly pair individual crest tiers with appropriate gear upgrade tracks so that there's potentially less confusion about what crest matches to what.
Anything further, Paul?
No, I think that's great. Yeah, super excited.
We're over here pumping fists.
Yes,
We're
absolutely.
very excited.
Rip Valor Stones.
Right?
Well,
And on that note,
Like I
that's our
said,
time.
no one will be
Thank
sad.
you, Ian, Paul, Maria. Thank you for taking the time, and thank you to everyone watching along. We've got Midnight Alpha testing starting very soon. We can't wait to see you there and welcome you home.
By soon, they mean tomorrow.
thank you.
Well, that wasn't too bad. Some decent questions. Okay, well, I'm gonna go do a BRB. I'm gonna drop the stream on YouTube side, but another stream will start up. We're gonna do some mount farming. It's been a hot minute, and yeah. Ah, scatter. You only typed 1T. Like, come on, Drackle. Like, do I have to be the typing police over here live on stream? On purpose? You spelled LOL with a K. What the fuck? Anyway, I'm gonna go do a BRB. I don't need a drink, but I do need a piss, so it probably won't be too long of a BRB. And YouTube will go down, but I'll be bringing up a stream when I get back. And what is that? Is that a random word, or do I need to guess what it means? Is that an abbreviation, or is that just a random misspelled word? What the hell? Anyway, I'll be back, and YouTube, look out for the stream. It'll go live soon. From Map Farming.